Welcome back, Internet, to another Reddit Stories. We're back to Tales from the Pharmacy. Got a lot of positive responses about this subreddit, so I think I might make it a mainstay. Anyway, let's get into it. I just love holidays. It's been a long holiday week in retail. Yesterday I'm working at the front and I hear her coming. Miss, I'm on the phone with the doctor. We'll call her PETA, and I'm me. PETA, I don't think they have it yet. Did you send it? Are you sure they have it? I want to get this medicine. Do you have a script for me? Me. What's your last name? Can you spell it for me? And your date of birth? Psh, they don't even have it yet. Are you sure that you sent it? I haven't even looked yet. What am I supposed to do? It's not here yet. All on her phone. Did you just leave the office? Oh, well, you did. Well, it can take up to 45 minutes. She said she's just sent it now, and you should have it. Do you have it? No, I don't. We can text you when it's ready. But what if it doesn't come? I need this medicine. What do I do? You can have the doctor call on the phone if you're unsure. Have some patience, PETA. You're sure working mine. I'm going to throw that damn phone across the store in a minute, too. So I have 3 things to say about this. The first one is holidays are really the worst for retail pharmacy. Usually it's a day where you can't get a hold of any doctors and you're short-staffed because it's a holiday. And you always have people that are traveling out of town, people coming to visit family or friends, and they come into you and say, hey, we need to get something, and you're like, well, your doctor's office is closed, or something like that. We need to transfer it from your pharmacy. Oh, that pharmacy is closed today. There's always issues with holidays, so holidays are the worst. And the second is, yes, if you just left your doctor's office, it does take a while. I know with email and stuff like that, you would think that it would be just a matter of seconds from when they send it to you, when you receive it. But no, that's never the case. I don't know why. I'm sure it has something to do with the old technology of using it. But I know it never takes, it never ever works where you just come straight from the doctor's office and there's a prescription ready for you, or even in the store yet. That never happens. And the third is, like, this lady's talking on her phone while trying to be helped by another person. How rude are people when they won't get off their phone when someone's actively trying to talk to them or help them? Like, what I would normally do back when I worked at Walgreens is that we would say, oh, you're on your phone? Well, let me know when you're off. I can't talk to you when you're on your phone. And then if they would get like, what? Well, why not? It's like, oh, it's because of HIPAA. I don't want the other person on the other line to know what I'm talking about, which is kind of a lie because we're not going to get in trouble for HIPAA if I tell them, I don't want the person that you're allowing to listen to this conversation, you know? But it's just my way of saying, like, oh, well, you're not ready for me, so I'm not ready for you. But then we got in trouble for doing that. So then it turned into me just talking to people like that they were actively listening to me while they're on their phone. I would just ask them questions and stuff like that, and then just stand there and look at them. And they'd just look at me and say, oh, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, well, and then I would just repeat myself. And that would usually get them to get the hints that, you know, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone. Maybe I should actually, like, talk to the person that's in front of me. Man, sure had a lot to say about that short story. This doctor is done. Let's see, it looks like we got a prescription for prednisone 5 milligram. Got 14 of them. Directions 1 twice daily for 7 days for knee pain. Non-covered medication notice. This medication is probably not covered by your insurance plan. I can't fix this. 2, pharmacist, fill this script. Don't hassle me or the patient. Don't call me, don't fax me, just fill the script. Pharmacist, please ask the patient for written prescriptions to avoid needless phone calls. 2, please synchronize start and stop dates on prescription sets. And 3, please refill as indicated. Do not refill. So yeah, definitely people in pharmacy get it on both ends, from the patient and also from the doctor's office. I mean, this doctor is just being a dick without even talking to the pharmacy. Like, he's just immediately, like, talking down to everyone. And that's kind of the mentality that we had to deal with on a few doctors. I remember specifically one time I had to call a doctor's office, an eye center. I'll say the name of the doctors. I don't care. It was Hoops Medical up in Salt Lake City. Now, the patient was prescribed some eye drops that were super duper expensive, or that we didn't have many in stock, or we had something that was similar. Something to do with either the price or the shortage. So I called, and it was after hours, so I left a message on the voicemail saying, hey, this prescription was written by, and it ended up being like Dr. Hoops' son. So I'm dealing with a doctor that grew up as a rich, privileged kid. So you know the guy already has a high self-esteem about himself. So I leave a message on the voicemail saying, hey, the medication that we had was either too expensive or we didn't have it in stock or it's unavailable. One of those. I can't remember the specifics about it. But we have this option available, this option available, this option available, this option available. Just let us know what you'd like us to do. Call us back. Anyway, I come in the next day into the pharmacy, and my manager pulls me aside and says, hey, did you call a doctor's office and tell them to switch a medication to another medication? I'm like, some eye drops? Well, I called and left a message and said we had options. And he said, no. I just got off the phone with that doctor, Dr. Hoops' son, and basically berating my pharmacist, saying that I was telling him that he could only switch the medication to a certain medication and that, I should be fired and that I shouldn't be practicing medicine or anything like that. And I'm hearing this from a manager. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? We were short, or it was too expensive. It was by the patient request that they switch it. I was just giving him options. And then he calls back to our pharmacy, berates our pharmacist, wants my job, just because I suggested that maybe he might switch it to another one of X number of options that we had available. Thank you. I had to go to the pharmacy at the Walgreens, and get Plan B. Both pharmacists and the tech were very helpful, and not judgmental in how they spoke to me. I was worried about going in because of anyone seeing it. I thank you all for your hard, caring work. I'm always extra nice to pharmacists because they deal with so much. Keep up the awesome work. Well, yeah, we sell a lot of Plan B and stuff like that, but honestly, no one judges you at the pharmacy. We see so much stuff come in all the time that it's just another thing, really. Come in for your Plan B. No one cares. No one's going to judge you just because we see it all the time. It brings me to a funny story that I have. One of my pharmacists told me. He was working at another pharmacy up in Salt Lake, and he normally worked at Store A, but on this night he had to go and work at Store B to cover a shift. So he's there at Store B, and someone comes up through the drive-thru, and he doesn't even look down to see who it is. He's like, hey, how can I help you? And the girl just says, hey, can I get some Plan B? The pharmacist looks down, and it's his niece. Right? I mean, she looked up and she's like, oh, hey. And he's like, oh, hi. She said, no, it's for a friend. And she did have another friend with her, so whatever. It could have been for a friend. He goes and gets a Plan B and sells it to her and just says, don't worry, I can't say anything because of HIPAA stuff. Which is true. So, yeah, awkwardness, right? And for those of you outside of the US watching this, HIPAA is Health Information Privacy Protection Act. I think that's what it is. Basically, it just means if it's something medical, he can't go out and telling other people. Oh, and the niece, yeah, she was under 18, so that was another thing. So it's not like that she was in college or whatever. She was definitely living under a family member's roof. Just because you come inside doesn't mean it gets done any faster. This happened yesterday at work. I had a lady come up through the drive-thru and she had a prescription that had just been entered into the computer. Our time yesterday was about 40 to 50 minutes to fill from this stage. I told her and she said, okay, I'll just come inside. Okay. She comes up to the counter and asks if it's still 40 minutes now that she's in the store. I told her yes, and she sat down to wait. We are a fast food place and your order can just get done faster when you come in. There wasn't even a line in the drive-thru. She was the only car at the time. I don't understand how some people think this works. 100%, I guarantee it's just because of fast food drive-thrus. They immediately associate fast food with fast service. Medical fields, pharmacy, not always the case. There was one time when I had someone that was out a drive-thru window. It was just a single window, so we could only help one person at a time. And we had to do extra things for this patient. They brought in their insurance late, or we had to do something that took more than the average 2 or 3 minutes. She was probably there for 8 minutes. Anyway, we get the phone call from the car behind her saying, hey, what's taking so long? We're just saying, hey, we're just helping her. It just takes a little bit longer. And then the patient just says, hey, can't you just park her and so you can help me? I'm just thinking, park you? I'm going to run out your fast food order out to the car? That's exactly the mentality that this person had. So yeah, fast food, drive-through pharmacy, they really do think that a drive-through equals fast service, I guess. Thank you again for joining me on another Reddit Stories, Tales from the Pharmacy. So, yeah, I kind of like doing this one. It brings out more memories of me working in pharmacy. Like, that whole pharmacist niece in the drive-through story, I totally wouldn't have ever remembered that unless I would have read one of these things. So, I think I'm going to continue on with this series just so that I can tell some more personal stories about working in pharmacy. Anyway, so, if you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Share it with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't for more Reddit fun story video stuff. Yay! Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, later kids!